evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me tonight for a quick staff town hall around the election last night. So this is certainly a much more celebratory staff town hall than we did a year ago. So my favorite kind to do. So without any further ado, let's get started. So first of all, I want to just make sure that we are all giving our sincere gratitude to our voters. And I also want to extend my sincere gratitude to our staff. It is incredibly exciting that 5A passed last night, incredibly exciting. And we are just so grateful because this will actually give us a chance to make sure that we're retaining our staff, paying more competitively, and most importantly, taking care of the people who take care of our kids. I also think it really shows what our community values, and we're incredibly grateful. So a little about what I'm going to go over tonight. This will not be super long, but I do want to make sure that I take the time to answer your questions. So let's start with just what we're going to go through. We're going to talk about 5A, which passed, which is so exciting. I hope you all woke up to a much brighter morning this morning. We're going to talk about addressing capital needs moving forward and what we're going to do to mitigate 5B. And finally, we'll do a Q&A, and I'll be more than happy to take your questions. You can put your questions in the chat, and Allison or Ann will read them to me. And Amanda is also here, our Chief Human Resources Officer, to help me answer questions as needed. And no, we might not be able to answer everything, but we are going to do our absolute best to answer as much as we can. All right, so first we'll start with the unofficial results. Of course, ballots will continue to be counted, I believe, all the way until November 18th, but there are not enough ballots left outstanding that will make any kind of significant difference, so we feel really confident in the results. Our Mill Levy Override 5A, against every expectation, every prediction, passed. It passed at 52.14%. We received 68,855 positive votes for our Mill Levy Override in an absolutely horrible tax environment. So we are just incredibly grateful and incredibly proud of the efforts of our staff, our school leaders, and our entire community to really promote and educate our community and promote the need for 5A. Our bond initiative, 5B, came in a little bit short. So it came in at about 48%. But 5A was truly the biggest priority. So 5A came in actually 3 points higher than last year. So we're really excited about that because the uphill climb this year in terms of the environment around us was much more significant than last year. So we're really excited about that. And I just want to take a moment to talk a little bit about how excited I am that we were successful and about why I believe we were successful. I think that our district, all of us collectively, I think we taught our kids a lot over the last year. We're always talking about teaching our kids that if they don't get it the first time, they need to dust themselves off and stand up and try again until they're successful. And that is what we did as a district. We got up, we weren't bitter, we weren't mad, we got up and we persuaded our community, talked to our community, educated our community, and came out successful. And I love the example that perseverance of our entire district, our staff, our leaders, our community supporters, the perseverance that was displayed is just such a great example for our children. And the other thing I want to talk about is unity. What was so special about this election is that we all came together. It's funny when you have something so big as keeping our teachers and making sure that our school district has a fantastic future and that we're able to deliver the same educational excellence we have today for the babies of tomorrow. When we suddenly look at those really big issues, sometimes then our differences actually seem really small by comparison. Our community came together, our staff came together, our Board of Education came together so much in order to fight for what really matters. And this is what really matters, the future of our kids, the future of our community. So I think those two things together were a great recipe for us. And I want all of our staff to hear loud and clear, your community supports you. The reason our voters prioritized 5A is that they support our amazing staff, our teachers, our bus drivers, our custodians, our education assistants, our kitchen workers, our assistant principals, every single one of you. Our community prioritized supporting you. And I think that is absolutely amazing. And I feel very blessed to be leading this district and to be in this amazing community. All right, so yay. Now let's talk about what happens next. So as you know, 5A consisted of two parts, a $60 million compensation part and a $6 million safety and security piece. So let's start with the compensation increases. Now, the compensation increases I'm about to address, of course, are related to our staff members that are employed by Douglas County School District. Each of our charter schools have their own plans that their teachers can learn from them. For us here in Douglas County School District, our teachers will be receiving an average of a 9.2% increase. We've published this for months. The schedules that have been in place for months are actually now our new salary schedules as of today, which is really, really exciting. You can click on this link to see the revised salary schedules. Actually, Amanda, I'm going to ask if you could put a link in the chat for the new salary schedules. You will, of course, be receiving all of that via email as well. And the salary schedules are, of course, available on our website at dcsdk12.org/funding. For that 9.2% average increase, even those who are above cell will receive a minimum of 7%. So our licensed staff will all receive increases, which is fantastic. And then, of course, if you're currently placed on the cell, you can look at the salary schedule to figure out where you will be. Our classified staff will receive a flat 9% increase. Just 9%, very simple. And that will go to our classified staff. Everyone else will receive a 7% increase. I want to make a note that our post-retirement employees are 110 employees. Normally, when we hire a 110 employee at their last rate, the rate that they retired at, that remains the rate throughout their employment as a 110. Raises, et cetera, throughout all school districts don't typically apply to 110s. But in this case, for our Mill Levy Override, we are applying a 3.5% increase to our 110 employees. We're really grateful that you are staying with us after retirement. We need you, we appreciate you, and we're thankful that you're with us. All right, let's see. So what else can I tell you? Let's talk a little bit about the timeline. So here's the compensation increases timeline. Next week, you will be receiving your specific pay information from Human Resources. So you will get an email that tells you what your new pay is. Now, I have a lot to tell you around that, but the first thing I want to say is there are 8,600 of you. And so you can only imagine how complicated that is for Human Resources to be able to send each individual of 8,600 people what their compensation will be. And there may be mistakes, and it's okay if there's a mistake. Just email Human Resources and let them know that you think maybe there was an error, but we're going to ask you to have a lot of grace and a lot of patience because there are like 3 people able to do this and there's 8,600 of you. So we just ask for grace and patience. We will get it all sorted, but we feel pretty good about the statements that we'll be sending out last week. And I do want to give a special shout out to Amanda Thompson and her department for all the incredible work that they have done to calculate the changes for 8,600 staff, along with our finance and most particularly our payroll department. Everyone has worked really hard to make sure that we are ready for this, and we are ready. In January, you will receive in your normal January paycheck, you will receive the lump sum that is your raise for the last 7 months from July 1st, or if you were hired after July 1st, from whenever you were hired. So January will be a big lump sum because your raise is retroactive to last summer. So if you think about that for a moment, that means that our payroll department here in Douglas County School District, we are about to drop $30 million into our employees' paychecks all at once in January. This is really, really exciting. And so that's what your January check will look like. And then your new rate of pay, your new monthly amount will start in February and carry on from there. Hopefully that makes sense to everyone. I, of course, want to note that once we make compensation changes, those compensation changes remain in place forever, therefore tying up the $60 million MLO forever. So it's not like, what are you going to spend it on next year? We're still spending it on making sure that we were able to give everyone that raise and maintain that raise from here going forward. All right, a few important notes about the Mill Levy Override compensation. A detailed frequently asked questions will be sent to our employees. So we will answer as many questions as we can tonight. If there are some we can't answer, we will get back to you, but it will also help us add to our FAQ to make sure that we are covering all of our questions when we send it out to all of our employees. Keep in mind, there are some very complicated situations. Nothing is super simple because that's how that works. We have things like leave of absences. We have people who maybe were part-time in August and now they're full-time. You know, we have a lot of nuances where there are complicated situations. So those situations are being addressed on an individual basis and will be covered to the extent possible in the FAQ. But once that FAQ comes out and you get your statement, if you still have some kind of question, our human resources folks are here to help. I want to mention a little bit about para and tax withholding, because this is super exciting too. Your pay change is retroactive to July 1st. And we're informing para of that. So it'll take them a little time, but para will actually adjust your para eligible pay so that your new salary started July 1st. So that when you're looking at 12 months of your highest average salary, this incredible increase will factor into your highest average salary, as will your retention payment from September. So for many of you, this will be a really good string of 12 months for your highest average salary under para. So all of this is para eligible and will contribute to your highest average salary. In terms of tax withholding, that lump sum will happen in your regular paycheck in January, and the tax withholding will be just the same as it is for your regular pay. So your regular pay will just be a whole lot more, but the tax withholding will be the same as it is for regular pay. So not like you're getting a bonus. And again, I just ask you to extend us some grace as we work through changes, exciting changes, but changes for 8,600 people. I also want to talk a little bit about future pay considerations. So we were not in a financial crisis, so to speak. Our problem has always been that we can't be competitive. When the state of Colorado gives us more money, we're able to give you raises, as we did last year, as we will do at the end of this year. When we get more funding from the state of Colorado, we will give raises. So will all the other districts. So that's what makes this so special, is that we get this middle of the year amazing adjustment that's retroactive. But as we receive new funding from the state of Colorado, we will continue to issue raises as we normally would. And I do fully anticipate that we will be able to give modest raises on top of what you're getting right now going into the 24-25 school year. So I'm just feeling really good about our ability to pay people more competitively and to pay all of you closer to what you are worth. We are just so grateful for each and every one of you. And I know that many of you have hung in with us and are trying so hard to figure out how to afford to make ends meet because you love working here. And I really hope that this makes the change that will allow you to stay at a job that I hope that you love as much as I love mine. Okay, so the other piece of the Mill Levy Override is the $6 million safety and security piece. So that was for several things. One, it was to expand our school resource officer program so that we have more school resource officers to cover and fill in gaps, particularly to have more coverage at our elementary schools, but also to cover absences and that kind of thing. That will be across all of our jurisdictions, and we're going to need to extend a lot of grace on this as well. Just like we can't snap our fingers and hire someone off the street and put them on a bus the next day because we have to train them, or in a classroom or whatever it might be. Our law enforcement partners are also struggling with a significant labor shortage, and they are having a hard time hiring. And then once they do hire, certainly for a school resource officer, there is significant training and ramp up before they're actually in our schools. So by next school year, we should really start to see some changes. But I do ask for your patience for our law enforcement partners. We are really excited about this, though. Our school resource officers have made a huge difference in our schools, and we're really, really excited about being able to welcome more of them. 5A will also contribute to campus security specialists. Our elementary schools will each now have a campus security specialist. That's something we haven't been able to afford before, and we're really, really excited to do that. And I know our elementary schools are excited to participate in that program, as our high schools and our middle schools have been. And then finally, there will be an annual security equipment allowance. So that means that we will have the ability to replace radios, make sure that we're replacing equipment as needed without waiting for a bond to do so. So this is an annual allowance that our safety and security folks can use to make sure that all of our equipment, cameras, radios, all of that is up to date and in good shape without asking for a bond. So that's a really good thing. Okay, so what about 5B? So 5B did fall short. And you know what? People ask me, well, why do you think that is? And I think it's because our community prioritized raises for our staff. And this was such a difficult tax year. We knew that, right? We're all experiencing higher taxes. So is our community. And so they picked, some of them picked carefully, and they prioritized you all. That means that 5B did fall short. So what's our plan? Well, for starters, obviously, the loss of 5B means that we're not going to be getting some new schools under construction or doing the expansions that we had been hoping to do. The biggest concern about not passing 5B is our critical capital maintenance needs. So making sure, I know as many of you do in your building, we have trash cans in Wilcox catching the leaks from the ceiling. And I know many of you do too. So we have boilers, chillers, roofs, things that are urgent capital needs that need to be addressed. The most urgent capital needs are the ones that could actually close a school or close part of a school, and we address them in order of urgency. We will use any available resources that we have, to include dipping into fund balance somewhat, in order to address the most urgent capital needs, because we do not want to be in a situation where we're having to close a school because there's no heat, or whatever the situation may be. That is about what we will be able to address without additional capital funding. We will not be able to build new neighborhood schools without a 5B passing. We do have several communities where we have incredibly urgent needs for new schools. We will look at boundary solutions, and we will look at some other creative solutions, because we are going to have to find a way to relieve some of that overcrowding. And we are going to have to go back to the voters at some point with 5B, because this challenge isn't going to get any better. We've got Sterling Ranch, we've got Crystal Valley, and the canyons that we had been hoping to build new neighborhood schools in. And right on the heels of those, we have Ridgegate East and other areas that are continuing to grow very, very tremendously. So we're going to keep an eye on it. We'll look at boundaries, we'll look at creative solutions, and we'll look at a future ballot. I don't know if that's a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now. Not sure. That is something the Board of Education and staff will have to discuss and strategize on, but there will be another 5B in our future, because there will have to be. So, all right. And then I just want to share some final thoughts. There aren't words. I can't thank our staff enough. I have a bunch of pictures here. I could have put a million up. Our staff, our teachers, all of our staff, our support staff, our administrators, my team, our district directors, everyone was out canvassing. We're writing postcards till their hands hurt. We're just absolutely participating in every way possible. I have never felt so much unity and support as we did for 5A, 5B, the car painting, all of it. And I am just so, so grateful for all of you and for everything that you did. Many of you were canvassing in the cold. We were painting cars till we couldn't stand it anymore. I got to the point where I have markers in the back of my car and I'm ready to paint anybody's car on demand. And I know I'm not alone. Many of you probably still have the markers in the back of your car. So I just want to thank you all. And actually, I want to give a particular shout out to the group on the upper right. Those girls are from Chaparral High School, and they literally started their own campaign on Instagram for 5A and 5B to get our kids involved, engaged, our graduates involved and engaged. And it was amazing. And I am so grateful for those girls and for all of the kids. Our student advisory group worked really hard on 5A, 5B. And thank you to, I painted cars with so many teachers. I'm just so grateful for so many of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I also want to make sure that as a district, we remember to show our gratitude to our community, because this is a big deal that they supported a tax increase at a time when they were already experiencing a massive tax increase. And I think it's so important. And in my letter earlier today, we asked for videos. They're already coming in from teachers, principals, staff, really great videos thanking our community. Please keep those coming. Just take a little video of yourself on your iPhone saying thank you, or what it means to your family, or whatever you're comfortable saying, and send it to our communications department. And we're posting those on Facebook. We're disseminating them. We're making sure to thank our community partners, the Parker Chamber of Commerce, our town councils, our Castle Rock Chamber of Commerce, our economic development councils, our Rotary clubs. The number of community organizations that supported 5A, 5B is amazing. And we want to make sure we get our gratitude out to all of them. Maybe for those of you who, like me, have paint sitting in the back of your car, maybe when you wash off the old vote yes on 5A, 5B, maybe considering saying, thank you for supporting our schools, Douglas County, with a big heart, maybe just for a week, just enough. I just want our voters to feel the love and appreciation from our school district. We're going to be back, and we just need to hold on to their support and make sure that they hear our appreciation. And that not just us asking for money, but us also saying, thank you, thank you, thank you for supporting our schools and our amazing district, our kids, our staff. We're very grateful. Finally, I would like to make sure that I address your questions. So I imagine there are probably some questions already. So Allison and Ann, if you can let me know what questions are there, we'll spend a little time doing that. And we will, of course, make the recording of this town hall available.
Yes, it'll be available in tomorrow. We have questions, and they may mostly Amanda, but I'll let you know. We do have several questions about the pay scale. I know Amanda sees it, and
yes,
they're off of the scale.
So meaning oversell or over range? Yes, thank you so much. And I just have to give a special shout out as a former Trailblazer elementary employee, paraeducator, and teacher. Jenny Lamro, I think you posted about above sell. So great to see you, and thank you for all your amazing years in Douglas County. For those that are over their sell, that's that minimum of 7%. So all of our licensed staff will receive no less than a 7% additional increase to their base salary. And so the 7% applies to those that fall above their cell location.
Yeah, and the 7% is ongoing.
Yes.
Great. What else do we have, Allison?
Great, thank you. We've addressed sub pay, which is not going up at this time, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, actually, I would like to address sub pay. First of all, I want to thank our district substitutes. We are so grateful for what you do. I know my own daughter has done a lot of subbing. We're just really grateful that you are part of our district and subbing. The reason that we weren't able to address substitute pay with the Mill Levy Override is we were prioritizing the areas where we are truly, truly not competitive. And while I understand that Cherry Creek pays more than we do for substitutes, our sub pay is at the same level as Littleton and Jeffco and most of our surrounding neighbors, with Creek being an exception. We are doing other things to try to make sure that we thank our subs. So for example, we had a stipend recently for our subs that work a certain number of days. So please know that we are incredibly, incredibly grateful for our subs, and we will continue to watch our competitiveness in all areas, including substitutes. Thank you.
Awesome. And I feel like this was probably covered, but I've got a couple of these questions talking about one, the lump sum, how it's taxed, and then when exactly pay increase takes effect. When we see that in a paycheck, not
Sure.
only lump sum, but ongoing.
Sure. Let me try and attempt to do some simple math here. So, let's see, I got to find a good number. So give me a second. Let's say you make $60,000 a year. So that is, see, I've already lost. I can't do napkin math. It's the worst. All right. So if you make $60,000 a year, that means that you make $5,000 each month, right? So you make $60,000 a year, you make $5,000 a month. And let's say you get a $6,000 raise. So now your new pay on your scale is $66,000. That new pay, that raise, that $6,000 raise equates to $500 a month more. So if once you're making $66,000, now you're making $5,500 a month. But let's say my current pay is $6,000 or $5,000 a month. So I've been making $5,000 a month since July 1st, going to January. But now I'm going to have $66,000. It's going to be retroactive to July 1st. So I'm going to get my $500 a month more from July, August, September, October, November, December, and January, all in January. So basically, I'm going to get 7 months worth of my $500 a month increase, which according to my napkin math is $3,500. So my lump sum in January would be $3,500. And then starting with my February paycheck, I will get my new rate, which is $5,500 a month for the rest of the school year. I hope that made sense. So that's just a little bit of napkin math. Uh-oh, did I screw it up, Amanda? Go ahead.
No, you're brilliant. No, not all great. And just want to clarify. So we said rest of the school year and continuing. This is at new base pay rate. And also want to do a quick clarification. So in a lot of our communications or things that might have been out there also that talk about an immediate pay increase, just want to provide that clarity. So yes, immediate in that there is an approved Board of Education resolution that automatically triggers our ability in HR and as a school district to start to process that with any addition, without the need for additional conversation or anything. And so we just want you to know that the definition of immediate, which means our ability to begin to process that retroactive pay, and also the new pay rate moving forward. So we hope that that provides clarity, and know that we will be sending out FAQs to all of our employees this week that answers as many questions as possible, and know that Human Resources continues to be here to serve and support and answer your individual questions. I also see here that there is a question, and thank you to our Director of Compensation, Mary Chesla, always here to support. We appreciate you. She's in the chat tonight about those that are over range. So for example, our classified employees. So for our bus drivers, this is already agreed upon with the ATU, and those that are over range will also get their increase according to the communications that have gone out, regardless of where you fall upon the range.
And to answer the tax question, your lump sum as well as your new pay, of course, but your lump sum is taxed as regular income, not as a bonus. So it's taxed the same way. What we're withholding is the same as it would be for your regular income.
Mm-hmm.
Great.
I think just one more. Oh, go ahead.
Okay.
I see something in the chat as well. Thank you, Allison, for your support too. From Tanya H. Thank you for your question. As an SLP, we appreciate you and your expertise for our students. You're asking about if you were hired on the extremely hard to hire licensed salary schedule, what schedule you will be on. You remain on that same schedule in the same cell that you are on, or what you're currently placed on, with the additional increase for licensed employees. And again, more information will be coming out. And then next week, all of our employees will receive, who are eligible for this, who are not seasonal or temporary employees, will receive what that looks like for you.
Yeah, so as Amanda said, if you're a licensed employee, you're going to be in the exact same spot on the schedule. You just have to go look at the new schedule and it's going to be a different number in a good way. Okay, great. I think that we have answered the questions. And I just want to say thank you again. I hope you are all celebrating tonight, as I will be. We are just so excited. This is a really big deal and we're so grateful. And we are so grateful to all of you, our employees. And I sincerely hope this was the boost that we all needed in order to retain our amazing staff. We so appreciate what you do for our kids and what you do for our district. Have a fantastic night. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great night.